What's up everyone, hope you guys are all having a great day today. I'm doing fine as usual. Normally I would mention something funny that just happened in my life, but summer school has been pretty boring honestly. I'm finally getting into this twice a week upload schedule, so that's cool. Anyway, last week it just got announced that God of War Ragnarok was going to be delayed, as if anyone were surprised by that. But then they also announced that it was going to be cross-gen. Again, as if anyone were surprised. But for some reason, people are surprised by that. I kinda expected God of War to be cross-gen. I don't really know, it just seemed like it was way too early to start making games as big as God of War next gen early. But the point is, it's been confirmed and Sony fanboys are mad. Now it's already been a rough start to the new generation for Sony fanboys so far. First with the less than stellar launch lineup, then with their Precious Jesus SSD not being exactly what they hoped for, then with the PS5 not being able to be found almost anywhere, then to even more of their exclusives being ported to PC, and with a whole slate of them coming on the way, then Returnal coming out to be pretty buggy, and now with their precious PS5 exclusives all being announced to be cross-gen, aside from a very select few in the first couple of years the PS5 is out. And yeah, if I were taking this many L's in just a little over a half a year, I would be pretty pissed too, but luckily for me, I'm not pissed, so we're gonna laugh at the people who are. Now, God of War, cross-gen, I would think that most people would think it's a good thing. And then there's the mentally insane who try to spin this as somehow a bad thing, that the PS4 is holding back God of War. I mean, yeah, God of War being cross-gen will hold it back, probably won't be as detailed, but that's literally what the PC is for. And chances are, if God of War were a next-gen game and had all of these new features that only next-gen could have, and looked as detailed as these Sony fanboys want their next-gen games to be, chances are it would only be running at either 1080p or 30 FPS on next-gen consoles, which I don't think anybody wants to go back to. Anyways, just play the fucking video.
What the fuck? So prior to launching this new hardware, you brag about this new hardware and all the crazy stuff it can do, the SSD. You have a whole hour-long presentation with Mark Cerny describing what the PS5 will be able to do that the PS4 couldn't do, and you say we believe in generations and focusing, honing in for games on this unfounded potential.
And that is exactly why you don't take a fucking corporation's word at face value.
And yet, here we fucking are. Months later, two of the biggest sequels from the PS4 generation that were highly anticipated as next-gen only games that would blow us away with the gameplay and SSD are fucking PS4 games.
I think the only next-gen game they said was going to quote-unquote blow people away was Ratchet & Clank, and that's still a PS5 exclusive. All they've shown from God of War so far was just a fucking logo, and Horizon was confirmed to be a cross-gen before the PS5 was even out. Yeah, they are the biggest PlayStation exclusives right now, but neither of which were said to be next-gen only. Once again, why you don't jump to fucking conclusions.
Why did we even buy a PS5? Might as well call us a PS4 fucking Pro.
And that's why you don't buy consoles at launch.
Point two. I mean, if you told people 3 years ago that the next God of War and the next Horizon Zero Dawn would be on PS4, you would have been called a moron, because historically speaking, I know that this goes against a lot of the damage control and lies out there, but historically speaking, Sony has always focused on the new hardware right away. We saw with Killzone Shadowfall, infamous Second Son.
And that's because the PS3 sold like shit. There was literally no point in wasting resources to port game to an older platform that sold like shit. And even then, there are still some next-gen only games on PS5, just not God of War Horizon.
The Order 1886 and Bloodborne and Uncharted, and you know, Uncharted was even like 3 years after the release of the PS4, three and a half years, and yet we're gonna be soon going into year 2 of the fucking PS5, and cross-gen, there's not an end in sight. And you know, I know a lot of you people will say, oh, but Horizon Zero Forbidden West still looks beautiful. Yeah, I agree. Visually speaking, it looks great, but it's still being held back. You see that in the pop, and you see that in the the sand deformation physics that are not great. You see it in the rocks that just disappear when they hit the ground. I mean,
if you cared that much about graphics, you'd be primarily on PC. Fuck, I play on PC and I don't even care that much about graphics to the point where I complain about barely noticeable rocks disappearing.
I mean, the physics, the animations, the AI, it's all being held back. And now we're going to see that happen with God of War, which is very highly anticipated. So chances are that God of War is just going to be God of War 1.2, similar to how Horizon Zero Dawn while being an upgrade visually, it still looks like it's gonna play pretty similar, minus a few additions, and the AI still looks kind of dumb.
Oh yeah, it's not like they do that with the sequel to every fucking Sony exclusive. You want to look at the gameplay of Last of Us and Last of Us 2, it's basically the same thing.
There's not much destruction in the sense that, you know, it stays and it makes the gameplay dynamic. And God of War, you know, one would have thought that you would have these boss fights that send Kratos across the galaxy with Thor, and now that's not gonna happen. It's being held back. It's not. You know, you can brag about visuals all you want, but the fact of the matter is it is being held back. You can't develop for almost decade-old hardware and say it's not being fucking held back. And the fact that so many of you that I follow and have seen you followed, and you guys fucking mocked Microsoft for doing the same thing, are now shilling this? Are you fucking kidding me? Grow a pair.
I mean, I agree. The Sony fanboys shilling this are equally as retarded as the Sony fanboys complaining about this.
Grow a fucking backbone and stick to your principle, because you don't have one. You don't have one. You know, and the fact that they straight up lied about this. I mean, Gran Turismo, they literally showed in an ad exclusive to PS5. I mean, that's just another fucking lie. That's literally a blatant fucking lie. You can't defend that. You cannot defend that. You really can't defend any of this. I mean, even if they didn't lie, it would still be a shitty move, because cross-gen is them prioritizing short-term sales over long-term quality game that'll sell throughout the whole generation.
What? Is he really trying to say that games will be worse by being cross-gen? Like, again, sure, they probably won't look as pretty. They're not gonna have every single next-gen feature that they could have, but can you really see a noticeable difference in graphical quality between a cross-gen game like, let's say, Horizon Forbidden West, and a next-gen only game like Returnal? No, not really. In quality, again, I'm a guy who would rather play a game with fun gameplay or good storytelling than a game with the highest end graphics possible. If I could choose between those things in graphics, I would choose fun gameplay and storytelling any fucking day of the week. Sure, that's subjective, but I'm pretty sure that the vast majority of people would agree with me, which is why games like GTA and Minecraft have some of the highest sales rates ever.
I mean, shit, even Miles Morales has been selling better on PS5 than it has on PS4 because people want to wait to play it in better frames. So what the fuck are you doing? And
grab some popcorn, because this is gonna be an unnecessarily long one. Let's look at it logically here. Miles Morales was a glorified DLC. I don't think there's any debating in that. The hardcore audience that aren't Sony fanboys didn't care about it because it was a glorified DLC. So then there's the people who bought a PS5 on launch day, and there's basically nothing to play from its launch lineup. Nobody knows what the fuck Sackboy is. Demon's Souls is already a remake of the game, and it's for a very specific audience. And then there's Spider-Man. Now, a lot of people know who Spider-Man is, and obviously nobody wants to buy a next-gen console without buying any games for it, so most people got Spider-Man. Now, looking at it hypothetically here, if more people cared about Miles Morales instead of it just being a glorified DLC and being an actual sequel to Spider-Man on the PS4, with all the stuff you'd expect from one, then there'd probably be more of a split down the middle. The prime example showing how this works is in March of 2017 with the release of the Switch and The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild received years of hype. People literally bought an entire fucking Wii U for this thing. So how much did Breath of the Wild sell on launch day? 3.84 million units across both platforms, and get this, over 1 million units on the fucking Wii U. One of the worst performing Nintendo consoles still managed to sell over 1 million units. So once again, say we were to replace Miles Morales as a launch title with, let's say, one of the bigger PlayStation exclusives that came out in 2020, like Ghost of Tsushima, or fuck, even Last of Us 2, chances are we would have seen a similar thing happen to it just like it did with Breath of the Wild. Now again, this is all just a hypothetical idea that I took looking at past cross-gen games, and for all I know, I could be totally fucking wrong. And if you guys have anything that does prove this wrong, tell me in the comments and I'll be sure to correct my errors. Anyways, that got really fucking long, so back to the video.
I mean, next year, more people are gonna own a PS5 than they did this year. Oh my god. And then you have all these third-party cross-gen games too, and it's just not gonna end. It's just not gonna end. And after Ratchet & Clank, what else is there in the PS5 pipeline? Sony has not been communicating with us why we need to keep buying a PS5. You know, Ratchet & Clank looks cool. It's a next-gen game, next-gen only, clearly. But what's after that?
Once again, why you don't buy a console at launch.
After that, it's cross-gen Horizon, cross-gen Gran Turismo, cross-gen God of War, and Halo's going to be cross-gen, but, you know, Microsoft is going to have this big E3 that they could blow us out of the water with next-gen games. I mean, holy fuck. I'm pretty sure that they have more next-gen only games announced than Sony does.
Speeding this up, because we're not talking about Xbox here.
No, they have Hellblade 2, Starfield, I think I'll be crushing. Stalker 2, I think that's next gen, I'm not sure. But, they probably have a lot more in the pipeline. Indiana Jones will probably be next gen, I don't fucking know. But, Microsoft has a chance here next month, oh shit, it's June now, this month for E3, to basically slam dunk on Sony for lying to their consumers and going against their tradition. Because, like I said before,
this is foreign to Sony. Big releases were always next gen only right away, and this is not the case, and it's pathetic. And there's really no reason to own a PS5, no reason to own a Series X, no reason to get this new PC hardware. There's just no software to push it.
Yes, there is. The entire point of next generation is to play games in better ways, which God of War and Horizon being cross-gen means they'll have ray tracing and they'll have 60 FPS, two major features that the PS4 version will not have.
The industry is falling apart, creatively bankrupt. They're too focused on marketing. I mean, we saw it with Cyberpunk. I mean, all they fucking care about was hype, guys. The PS5, it's all just fucking hype. I mean, that's all it is. These graphic cards, it's all hype. You're gonna get these machines, these power, and you're just gonna be wondering, well, when's the next release happening? Well, it's seemingly nowhere, because we don't know what the fuck else is next. We don't. And it's as simple as that. There's not much in the pipeline, and Sony doesn't like communicating with their fans, and when they do communicate, they like lying like this, and it's fucking pathetic. And anyone who defends it is pathetic. Thank you, have a great day, and don't buy next gen.
Well, that was just fucking phenomenal. Next gen is apparently worthless now, even though it's going to be doing the prime function of next gen, which is playing games in better ways. And if you are happy about not having to buy a PS5 to play games like God of War and Horizon Forbidden West, then you are literally the scum of the earth, the spawn of Satan, a subscriber of BT3025. But okay, mental gymnastics are clearly this guy's thing. Anyways, hope you all enjoyed the video. If you really liked it, you can maybe hit subscribe if you want to. I don't really care. But thank you all for watching, and I hope you guys all have a great day.